We will understand lipid metabolism. So lipid metabolism means fat. We are eating fat, right? We have to understand fat. So there are many things. Fat is a ocean. Studying about fat is a ocean, but we will not study all those things. We will study only the things that are related to ASCVD. First one we have to study is different type of lipids. Simple lipids. Fat is classified into or lipids are classified into various classes. The first one we have to discuss is simple lipids. In that we are going to discuss about triglycerides, which is important for cardiovascular disease. Next one is compound lipids is uh, lipoproteins. We call it as chylomicrons, VLDL, IDL, LDL and HDL. So these class belongs to lipoproteins or compound lipids. Next one is derived lipid. We have to talk about the cholesterols or sterols. So these comes under derived lipids. So we will take one by one. We will understand the basics. Take some oil and put it on water. So will oil mix with water? No, it will float. In the same way, when you put oil or fat into the blood, what happens is fat is not mixed in the plasma. That's the reason. So to transport the fat, okay, to transport the fat, we need some things that we look later. So we will discuss about triglycerides. Triglycerides are the energy sources. So fat in the form of triglycerides is energy. So some of the triglycerides will decrease the LDL, some of the triglycerides will increase the LDL, some of the triglycerides will decrease the HDL, some of the triglycerides will increase the HDL. Where do we get these triglycerides from? These triglycerides we get either from diet, or the liver synthesizes triglycerides from carbohydrate. These are the two sources for triglycerides. And we will next look into the part saturated fats. These are also come under triglycerides. Saturated fats are a part of triglyceride. So saturated fats, these contain single bonds in their aliphatic chain. Carbon between carbon, all the carbons will have only single bond. There is no double bond. So this is very important here. When there is increased intake of saturated fats, you will increase the VLDL production. VLDL production, it means indirectly you are increasing LDL. So and also you will decrease the HDL. So this saturated fat will increase LDL and decrease HDL. This is the important thing you have to keep in mind for saturated fat. And next comes the uh, unsaturated fat. In unsaturated fat, we have monounsaturated fat and polyunsaturated fat. In monounsaturated fat, we have one double bond, only one double bond in aliphatic chain of fatty acid. So these are monounsaturated fatty acids. These monounsaturated fatty acids, they don't have any effect on LDL or HDL. They will neither increase nor decrease HDL or LDL. You have to be very mindful of this, because we will use all these knowledge to optimize our diet. So you have to be very careful. And next comes the polyunsaturated fat. Polyunsaturated fat, these will have more than one double bond in their aliphatic chain. The fatty acids which are in polyunsaturated fatty acids will have at least two double bonds. So these are again divided into omega 3, omega 6 and omega 9. We will not discuss about omega 9 because those are not important, but definitely we will discuss about omega 3 and omega 6. Discuss on omega 3 fatty acids. With omega 3 fatty acids, we have to uh, remember this sequence. Omega 3 fatty acid, first precursor is linolenic acid. Linolenic acid is converted into EPA, and EPA is again converted into DHA. So this is the sequence. So these are very important. These are anti LDL, means they will decrease the LDL. These are pro HDL, they will increase the HDL. And these are anti platelet, they will prevent platelets from clotting. And these are anti inflammatory, so it will decrease the inflammation in your body. So these are very important things to remember. Then comes to omega 6 fatty acids. Omega 6 fatty acids, linolenic acid. So linolenic acid, it is we call it as La. Linolenic acid is converted into AA, arachidonic acid, and arachidonic acid is again converted into PG, means prostaglandins. These prostaglandins are pro-inflammatory. So, so finally we can say that omega 6 are inflammatory, but they don't have any effect on increasing or decreasing HDL or LDL. Next comes the compound lipids. So we have already discussed fat cannot be dissolved in plasma. So how to transport fat within the blood? So then the body has come up with the specific excellent mechanism. This mechanism we will completely discuss about it. What happens here is, so the fat is packed, both cholesterol and triglycerides. Where are these coming from? Triglycerides will come from diet or liver synthesizes. When there is excess of carbohydrate, when there is carbohydrate we have ingested, that is converted into cholesterol and that is converted into triglycerides in the liver. There are 37 steps for this. We will not go into those steps. Finally, the products are cholesterol and triglycerides. So liver also synthesizes this lipoproteins, especially apolipoprotein B. And what this liver does is, the liver packs cholesterol and triglycerides into a small vehicle. That small vehicle we call it as VLDL. So on the surface of the VLDL there will be apolipoprotein B. Even the apolipoprotein B will be synthesized by liver and pushed into the blood. So these particles, these VLDL particles, travel into the different places. We will look into it. So the VLDL will interact with HDL. HDL is already produced, HDL is produced, and this VLDL interact with HDL. And HDL will take some of the cholesterol and some of the triglycerides out of this VLDL, and the VLDL is now converted into IDL, so intermediate uh, proteins. Okay, now again this HDL interact with intermediate density lipoproteins, and it will again take some of the cholesterol and again some triglycerides, then it is converted into LDL, low density lipoproteins. So finally the LDL is formed. With what does LDL contain? LDL contain small amount of triglycerides, small amount of and a substantial amount of cholesterol, and on the surface it will have apolipoprotein B. See, cholesterol will be synthesized by every organ in the body. Okay, every cell in the body, whatever the cholesterol it wants, it can synthesize. But there are few tissues in the body, they want more cholesterol. What are those tissues? You take adrenal glands. Adrenal glands want more cholesterol because it has to make adrenaline in hormone, and testes need more cholesterol because it has to make testosterone. In the same way, ovaries need more cholesterol, it has to make estrogen and progesterone. And also skin need more cholesterol so that it can convert the cholesterol into vitamin D when exposed into sunlight. So they are preparing suboptimal levels of cholesterol, so they have to get more cholesterol. This is taken up by liver synthesis more cholesterol and transport this cholesterol through LDL particles to ovaries or to testes or to adrenal glands or to skin, so that they can produce the hormones. And here is the catch. What happens here? We will check. And also apolipoprotein B. So so this will go, this apolipoprotein B will go and attach these tissues, and it will provide cholesterol to the required organs. So in this regard, what happens is, finally when the cholesterol is deposited into required organs, left with LDL. So this LDL is again taken up by liver and it is recycled. So that is the life cycle of LDL, IDL and VLDL. Next we will look into, before we look into HDL, we have to see chylomicrons. Chylomicrons are see, when we eat food, the fat has to be gone or supplied to liver, it has to be supplied to adipose tissue, fat cells, or it has to be supplied to muscles, or it has to be supplied to various other cells in the body. How is this possible? So as a fat doesn't mix in the plasma, there should be some vehicle. The vehicle that is carrying fat from intestine to various parts, various tissues of the body, that we call as chylomicron. Chylomicrons are produced by intestines. They'll pack it with uh, cholesterol will not be there. Cholesterol will be very less because cholesterol is not absorbed into the body. Whatever the dietary cholesterol we take, it is going out. Only most of it is triglycerides, very negligible part of cholesterol. So most of the triglycerides the chylomicron contains, and they will transport it to all the tissues, mainly to adipose tissue, muscle tissue, and other tissues. So that is a functioning of chylomicrons. Then we will look into HDL, high density lipoprotein. These high density lipoprotein are produced by liver and also intestine. So these two are the sources of HDL. So this, the main function of high HDL is to remove the cholesterol from VLDL, IDL, and LDL. And also, if there is any excess of cholesterol deposited anywhere in the body, for example, like coronary artery wall, these HDL will clear those fat. That is the reason we have to increase more HDL in our body, that we call as good part. This is main function is to remove cholesterol from the tissues. Okay, this is next we move into derived lipids. So the best example of derived lipids is cholesterol. Yeah, cholesterol is synthesized in every cell of the body. Okay, so there is no life without cholesterol. So what is the importance of cholesterol? Every cell in our body is fluid, right? It is not rigid, it is fluid. So the fluidity of a cell is given to it by this cholesterol. Why? So the cell membrane, the most of the cell membrane is made up of this cholesterol molecules. So that is the importance of cholesterol. No cholesterol means no life. Every cell is able to create its own cholesterol from the carbohydrate, but there are some organs or tissues that need more cholesterol. One is adrenal glands, two is testes, three is ovaries, and four is skin to produce vitamin D, estrogen, progesterone, adrenaline, testosterone. So this is the importance of cholesterol. Cholesterol and dietary cholesterol. Dietary cholesterol is not absorbed into the body. So how much cholesterol you take in the diet, it will go in your stool. It will not be absorbed. Only 8% of the population will have capacity to absorb cholesterol, but it is not significant unless you take cholesterol in very large amount. There is no need to worry about it. Okay. Into etiology, what is the reason for atherosclerotic cardiovascular disease? First one is hyperlipidemia. When there are elevated LDL particles in the body, or elevated decreased HDL particles in the body, so you will get this disease. And next one is diabetes mellitus. So we have already discussed. So liver converts carbohydrate into triglycerides and cholesterol. So if you take more carbohydrate, which is leading to diabetes mellitus, you will have cardiovascular diseases. Smoking has very important pathway. When this chylomicron, when these LDL particles reaches the arterial wall, so uh, they will engulf the cholesterol within it. Because so we will look into the pathology. It will engulf the cholesterol and undergoes a inflammatory reaction. Thus that inflammatory reaction is increased or precipitated by smoking. So if you smoke, you are more prone to get atherosclerotic cardiovascular diseases. Next one is hypertension. Hypertension is also one of the major reasons. And if you take more carbohydrate in your diet, it will lead into creation of more cholesterol and triglycerides. So that is also reason for cardiovascular diseases. And if you take more saturated fats will increase LDL levels and will decrease HDL levels. It will increase bad cholesterol, and it will decrease good cholesterol. So stress is also one of the leading cause for atherosclerotic cardiovascular disease. And also omega-3 fatty acids. Omega-3 fatty acids have the capacity to decrease LDL and increase HDL. So if you take less omega-3 fatty acids, it can also lead to cardiovascular diseases.